Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the new world champion in the red, the top tier Terran for Team Liquid. It's Clem. But he's up against the only Zerg player who seems to be able to keep up with him lately, the Italian Stallion for Team Basilisk. It's Reynor. And this is the World Team League playoffs, which means it's not a best of 3 or 5 or 7, but instead these two players' teams had them face against each other not once, not twice, but thrice. And that means we have 6 games between these two. And it could be a 6-0 sweep one way, or less likely the other. Or we could split the difference. I don't know either way, but I do know it's very likely to be good games for the fans. And we're starting things off on post-youth, which might not describe these players, but almost certainly describes the aforementioned fans. So, before we start things off, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button, and maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we at? This is the only break we're gonna get. They have like 1,000 APM. 1,405 likes on this video, on this cast. I'll cast another one. And while these two are still playing, which is hopefully a long time, I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get a little bit better than the drones now under fire from the very first Reaper. Clem's Reapers. And incredible emotional and physical damage to Zerg. Name a more iconic combo. No, Clem's Marines, and also his Mines. Ghosts as well. We'll just throw it in. Just go through the list. He kills a drone right off the bat. Post-Youth actually has an incredibly short rush distance. Brenda Bounce pops down the ramp. And already 3 command centers behind. So, Clem taking full advantage of the fact that this map, you have a single ramp and that kind of odd mineral wall in order to keep you protected. And while Reynor is not one to shy away from early all-ins, we will be watching these matches in order. So I doubt the first time they're facing off. And a very key point is they don't know they're going to be facing off until the players are sent out. So instead of Cyril, multiple times they said, no, Reynor. Reynor's the one. And you know what? I think it's because Reynor's speed. At risk of sounding like the jaded old man that I pretend not to be, Cyril is an incredibly smart player, but Clem is just, he's on the bleeding edge of Terran micro. And to combat that level of speed, only one player can keep up. And right now he's desperately trying to dodge with the slowest units he could possibly build. As, well, you gonna say anything, Brenda? Not in game 1. That's way too meta. Well, finally, able to get down the ramp and deal. Well, not really deal with anything, but eventually, at 4 minutes in, he's rushing a lair, but the Queen's caught on the wrong side of the creep. Backs off with one badly bruised Hellion. Grenade tries to split the difference there. And Zerglings able to target down one of the Hellions, chasing down another, and gets both. Reaper was going to come in for another pass. Overlord speed on the way, and a Mutas. All right, well, Mutalisk to start things off against a double medevac play. The reason Mutalisks are not usually used is because of things like this. You can get the medevacs with stim marines out by the time the mutas start flapping over the field. But Reynor has gotten this so quickly that Clem may be caught off guard. The most likely thing you'll see with this early, with a delayed third, is a roach timing. Maybe some sort of queen push or Nidus Worm. Occasionally you'll see a rush to hive as well. But straight up Mutas? Well, this is my favorite unit composition in the history of StarCraft 2, a history which is over half the lifetime of both these players ago. Back in Wings of Liberty before Widow Mines, before the Thor was buffed, before Ghosts, well, Ghosts were used a lot. Mostly before Widow Mines. And the economy changes. Mutas found a lot more of an opportunity. They could usually get in, even though you sacrifice some of your own economy, it takes longer to progress as the Terran up to that level of tech to deal with them. So you have to make a big commitment. But as you see now, Reynor got mutas about as quick as you can while still having a decent economy. In fact, he's a couple workers down from Clem. And those mutas are only popping out right as the Marines are at the bottom of the ramp. And he's going to force the pickup. And with the Zerglings underneath, he may be able to just completely clear the medevacs out of the sky and set the tone for this game. Clem completely blindsided. Gonna try to target down. Gets one, gets two, picks up, buys himself maybe a little more space, but there's a lot of Zerglings on the ground. There's no upgrades for the Marines. Targeting the medevac, down it goes. Zerglings overrunning the ground. There's no turrets. And mutas chasing down the Marines. Zerglings underneath. The Muta's just going for the tanks and any reinforcements. He's trying to keep that number up, already dropping mules mid-fight. Takes out another siege tank. Decides to take out a couple more Marines. And Clem picks another Muta off the sky. Out of the sky. And 10 SCVs down. So Reynor, I would call that a success. Now, he lost a few Mutas. And of course, he has no upgrades at all. But getting economic damage and keeping the momentum like this is a huge deal. Though, even Vikings coming out. Gonna take out the siege tank. More Zerglings on the way. Baneling speed is done, if that's the direction Reynor wants to go, and indeed it is. Now, very important, combat shield finished up. 1-1 is completed for the Marines. And I was gonna say Marauders, but no Marauders. As why would you bother at this stage? So, it just got a lot harder for those Lings to get the damage done. But Banelings aren't going to care too much, especially with the numbers being thinned out. The engineering base in what is usually a safe location, but Banelings, they try to get into the third base, but Clem reacts quickly. There's a Whittle mine on the ground. Some of the Marines out in front. He's going to try to drag out the shot with just a single Baneling. Is totally successful. Mutas in the main, though, get cut down. And, well... Ooh, ends up losing 6 more Mutas. And that's the trouble. Even if you have 600 APM like Reynor, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to keep up on both fronts. So Clem solidifies his defense, and now we'll be able to pull back. The big struggle for Mutas is, even if you find that early success, they're such an expensive unit that it's very hard to do anything else. You're spending 100 gas on each of those Mutalisks, and it becomes a financial and just general risk. A Muta risk, if you would, as time goes on. As Clem gets closer and closer to 200 supply, closer and closer to those 2-2 upgrades, and maybe even 3-3. If Reynor is not able to either get a huge fight where the Banelings find big connections, which it's Clem, or tech up towards Hive and stay at least comparable on upgrades and unit composition, well, that's when the trouble starts. And Reynor right now is down 15 supply against a Terran with superior upgrades, and that will continue for a while yet. So he's made progress early, but don't count your Mutalisks before they hatch. And Thors are already on the field. It's I'm very excited to see this composition at all nowadays. And I like breaking it out early on, as well as this map is wide open. It's a short rush distance, but almost every location you can relatively easily surround, even this gold base, where the mineral patches create something of a wall. Muta slammed by the Whittle mine, and over... Where were you? Better late than never. 1-1, nearly completed for Reynor. And Burrow is done as well. Two starting. No, I take that back. I just reflexively said that. I zoned out for a moment. 2-2 starting, sorry. Peering into the future. Banelings, a single sacrifice Marine. And now, Clem is maxed out with the upgrade advantage. This is the most dangerous time for Reynor in this game. At least, well, if Clem makes a lot of progress here, the game doesn't continue. But Reynor, on the other hand, needs to crush this army or do a devastating counterattack. And Reynor says, "Porque no los dos," or however you say that in Italian. Big counterattack up towards the north side, but enough reinforcements out of Clem are able to box it out. Medevac's kind of caught in front. Another wave of Banelings on the way. Big hit from the Thor. Splash damage all across the Mutalisk. But the Zerglings shut down. A single Widow Mine drawn out into the SCVs. Meanwhile, the fight. More Banelings rolling through, but Reynor will got the mineral line. And the Muta count, he's got 22 of them and counting, which is quite a liability, but also a benefit if he's actually able to clear out these Thors. The Marine's still going to work, assassinates one of the Queens, and meanwhile, the Banelings, he does have Burrow, so could potentially use that, though a very unreliable strategy when you're already on creep and he's very likely to scam. The Zergling still trickling through. Reynor keeping up towards near 200 supply, and Clem is only now re-establishing his third base. Or no, he isn't, as there's burrowed Zerglings underneath. Mutas in the main. The turret dies immediately. The engineering bay is exposed. +3 armor is not going to happen. He even contaminates it, which he doesn't know how close the upgrade is to finishing, so might as well. Denies it. Widow Mines scattered throughout on the other side of the orbital, just knocking out the turrets one by one. Easily enough Mutalisk to do so. And he's working on more upgrades for him. +2 flyer attack on the way. And Reynor at a casual 1200 APM is chasing things down. The Thor drops from Clem are his mobile anti-air turret. A risky maneuver. A single Thor is likely not enough to stop the Mutas. And another wave of Banelings is on the way. So it's a bit of a liability relying on that single Thor. But Reynor is all around the map. He's just now building an infestation, but Clem still hasn't reestablished his third. And the main army, but no! The traffic jam! Oh no! The Baneling between the hatchery. By the way, a sick macro hatch, but still maxed out. Reynor heads towards the main base yet again. Widow Mine's gonna be dealt with. He sees a couple in that main mineral line. Whoa! Not only did he not kill the mine, but he's gonna eat a couple hits, loses a couple mutas. But wait, there's more mines. Killing even more SCVs, though. That third base is still not landed. Another mine hits, but he splits off the muta that's targeted. Clem, they're both still at 200 supply. Reynor is only now starting to build up a bank. The Widow Mines need to be cleared out. But Reynor is still making progress, and we're not at the point where Clem has 74 command centers, unlimited mules, and scans with extra APM that effectively amount to map hacks. We're not there. And I'm not even going to say yet, because he's doing such a great job of keeping track of these command centers. But again, the Banelings rolling in, trying to trickle through the Marauders, but the Thor's taking the damage, misses a pickup. But overall, a successful attack. So far, another wave of Banes coming in, trying to draw the Widow Mines into the army. There's another scattered minefield. Clem, of the age to be a Minecraft player himself, I'm sure, but 8 more mutas on the way. How many has he lost? 17? He's got 20-something on the field. 30 mutas is enough to one-shot pretty much anything, but it's also quite a liability. Widowmine taken down, picks up the Thor, which is stubbing its toe away from death. I think the Widowmine just killed a Thor. Yes! And they've been battling back and forth for 2 minutes straight. Thousands of units, or thousands of resources down. Not quite thousands of units yet. Reynor has managed to lose 300 Zerglings and counting. Not a very efficient exchange, but manages to take out one of the early ghosts. Ghosts just good in general. Their actual auto attack quite good against Lings and Banes. And of course, sniping the mutas would be a great option. Though mutas probably the best possible unit to actually escape from the snipes. But there's no building armor. Loses 1 muta, but takes out another base. And limiting Clem's economy is by far the most important thing. At this point, Reynor has 69 drones in all these bases, which puts him in a very nice spot compared to Clem's 46 workers. Sure, he has a ton of army supply, but if he can't reinforce it, eventually the Lings and Banes can whittle it down, melt it away, and leave Clem with nothing. Some Baneling mines out on the field to complement those Widow mines. A bit more micro-oriented. Technically, you can auto-cast the Unburrow, but then it just unburrows the moment a Marauder walks over. Which is why no one does it. Meanwhile, the Muta's trying to magic box onto the Thor, using that stop position to maintain the spread. Can't believe it's not Bunner. Adrenal glands on the way, 3-3. Reynor has made it to Hive Tech. And Clem is still scrambling. He's been chasing the Mutas around the map, mostly unsuccessfully. Another couple Whittle Mines will soften things up. He rebuilds 8 Mutas, adds a few more to replace the ones he lost. He has 125 Zerglings on the map, and dozens of Banelings as well, adding more in. There's 1,000 gas in the bank, and Clem, he's maxed out, but how many orbital commands? 5. 5? Wow. Okay. That Marine standing on the most dangerous location on the map for Marines, but one Marine is somewhat ironically safe. We'll see. Doesn't hit the Bane mine. Not that important at this exact stage. Trying to chase down the Thors. More Lings and Banes trickling through. Trying to trigger the minefield. Maybe gets another Thor. Does not find the pickup. Clem. And there's a Baneling counterattack. Almost kills all of these. Scan accidentally kills... accidentally spots the Baneling mines. Scanning forward trying to figure out all this. Another Whittle Mine connects. Baneling's thinning out. The Muta's mostly intact. 20 SCVs dead at that base. And in the smoke, he didn't notice the burrow. What a play. As Reynor, Clem's down to 120 supply. He's down to 23 SCVs, and most of his supply is medevacs. He's on the ropes right now as the Mutas have continued to dictate the pace of this game. And Clem, who's usually so successful at constant aggression, is being picked apart. The Muta's taking a lot of damage, but they heal quickly. Whittle Mines biting off dozens of Zerglings. Ooh. A painful exchange for both sides, and it will continue. 3-3 just now finished for Reynor. He did all that with an upgrade disadvantage. So it's only going to get... easier is a relative term. And he's still going Mutas. A single Infestor on the way. He already has Burrow done. Reynor has exhausted his bank, though. And the army supplies are still near even. The income is... Team Basilisk Reynor has the advantage. But it isn't so decisive that he can just throw away dozens upon dozens of Lings and Banes. He has his entire side of the map. He's going to start working towards Clem's. I don't know how many mines. There's a couple mines by that sensor tower. Targeting the orbital, knocks it down. Another command center that was going to expand. Well, we'll go back to the home front. Marines pick off just one Muta on the way out. Need to rebuild those Overseers. But Zergling's back in the third base. And the Lings again. Well, 10 more Banelings on the way. 5 SCVs at a time for Clem, who's not going all in here. Oh. Almost catches a huge clump with the Whittle Mines. Clem has ground out his... What? The Muta's just flapping into the main. A murder of Mutas looking to gut the production. But that means Reynor is left without them to fight the main army. And enough Marines heading back home. Maybe he wants to take down that mineral wall that many players will just... Oh, trying to draw Whittle Mine hits. Unburrowing to dodge it. The Whittle Mine hit almost kills the medevacs. Reynor just throwing the Overlords away, which actually... maybe not the play, because he's now supply blocked at 197 over 194. Clem holding it together. Reynor has lost 3,000 more gas and a couple thousand more minerals, but he's mined 7,000 more minerals and ridiculously 6,000 more gas. That is a massive disparity. I guess having all these bases for this long is starting to pay off. But Clem is back up 134 army supply. Reynor actually can't match it. Those Whittle Mines, and kill them before they go off, of course. That's the best case scenario, but he was really flirting with it there. A dangerous game. Reynor keeping it together. And it only takes 750 APM. Just over 12 or so a second. Let's go to the Reynor cam. Epilepsy warning. Mutus. The Infestor in place. Lings and Banes looking to get the setup here. But not quite finding the opportunity. Building a lot more Banes during it. And there's the Fungal! He had enough for 2! Just threw it out again. But not quite that. Well, the Widow Mine's helping out a lot. Back to everyone. Mutus didn't find overwhelming success. There's still so many mines and marines. How many mines? 38 have died, 200 marines. We're 22 minutes in. Wow! 70,000 resources lost. That's approaching the record that these two set in the past, which was just over 4,000 resources per minute lost. For reference, the income right now is about 3,000 per minute for Reynor, and not even 2K for Clem. Like, when both players have their maximum economy, maybe they're reaching to 4,000 or so apiece. And of course, that's the two of them, but to lose that many units while building them is something only players of this caliber can do. The Mutas in the main. Zerglings still looking to defend. The minefield is intact. Oh no, another Widowmine hits the Banes. The Mutas clear out yet another command center. He's down to 3 orbitals, which makes Baneling mines a greater and greater threat, as Clem is both taxed to use his mules as he runs out of economy, and just generally has less energy for scans. The Widow Mines, big hits, forced to cancel. Reynor has been unable to take out the base, or to take the base, rather. That is right beneath his, quote, main. Now, the crazy part is, the Mutas have served their purpose. Clem has not done or been able to attempt a single drop since the initial one that ended disastrously. The Mutas have denied Clem his greatest strength, though his army is still looking very strong. And while Reynor has 4,800 minerals, he only has 28. He gets the Bane Mine. And the classic scan after the Bane Mine. Very barn door locking situation. And as the orbital count dips lower and lower and the need for mules grows, it's going to get harder for Clem to commit to anything besides these tiny Widow Mine drops. He needs to try to pick a fight. If he take... Oh, no, 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 no! Oh, he's looking away. He only ends up losing... Wait, what? There's no way that's true. Oh, the next battle didn't start yet on the battle report. They've been fighting so much, it's actually screwing up the overlay. It's not designed for this amount. It actually does happen if they're constantly fighting. Sometimes it bugs out. Clem continues to be on the ropes. All right, like a trapeze artist here. The Banelings will unburrow. They're still, for like the 7th time, Reynor is forced to cancel that base. The Mutas have slowly but surely cleared out the main. There are turrets at the edges. Ghost line up a couple snipes, throws out the changelings. Wow, Clem killed the changelings instantly, but here comes some Zerglings, and he's just overrunning the reinforcements. And now Clem has to sprint back home. His barracks are under attack, but the Zerglings are looking to flank. Widowmine doesn't find a connection. Justlings and Banes are not going to be enough, but the main base is crumbling. Reynor has run Clem around the map, stretched him so thinly, and now, while he's bent over and over again, it's finally time for him to break. Reynor is closing in. Oh, these Widow Mines are certainly not helping. But if Reynor is able to keep this level of aggression up just a little bit longer, Clem will simply have nothing left. The Mutas, he's splitting off Mutas to eat the mine hits just to open things up quicker. Ultralisk Cavern on the way as Reynor approaches 800 APM. So that's all you need to play Mutas, I guess. And the Bane Mine, the Bio, and Reynor, I think clearly. Oh, no, my God! Oh, my. That Whittle Mine. It hit the Mutas, and it splashed over the Lings underneath. And if anything is going to bring Clem back into this game, it's hits like that. But the Lings are back in the main base. A lot of the medevacs are already badly bruised. There's barely any units left. And Clem is being overrun. The medevacs are dead. Clem dips under 100 supply. The Thors are here. More Mutas picked off trying to reinforce. Liberators attempting to protect the base, but it's not gonna be enough. He takes out the engineering bay. There's one more at the back. Did he ever get? He never got building armor. He never got high-sec auto tracking. There are 3 Ultras in production. As Reynor. And the Bane Mine. He pops 2. The Changeling spot it. He keeps 2. And this is where that extra scan would actually make the difference. Hits him on the way out. And I think he's done it. Reynor has taken down the world champion for his team. At least to start things off. Oh. And here come the Lings. Clem's dead. He just doesn't know it yet. GG. Game 1 goes to the Italian Stallion, ending the game at 780 average actions per minute. A purist. He only built 1 infestor. And I'm not even sure it was intentional. He used it like it was. But otherwise, 870 Lings, 100 Banes, and those are just the ones that died without attacking. 82 Mutalisks. And he kept the pressure on. If at one point he had slipped and lost those Mutas, that's the game. If at one point he had taken a bad engagement and left without enough Lings and Banes, if he didn't respect them, there are just so many things that can go wrong. But he kept making sure that they went right. What a game. Making Mutiling Bane work. And I'm not going to say he made it look easy. It was the opposite of that. But it clearly had the intended effect of shutting down Clem's greatest strength, which is the constant multitasking and drop play. If you limit the amount of places he can even focus, like, you just can't send out medevacs. The Mutas will hunt them down and kill them. The big weakness is in a straight-up fight. The Mutas are just not great fighting units. All right? They're for running around and being exactly where you're not. So Reynor keeping just enough army supply and bringing the Mutas back in right when they're needed and not a moment before. A couple times it looked like he might lose a critical mass, but he just kept building them. He persevered. And for the low cost of nearly 800 APM, he eventually ground Clem down in 28 minutes. And then we just jump right into the next game. Oh my god. Can we take a breather? Yep. Just like, subscribe, some water. Alright. Crimson Court. Game 2. So, right now, the only clean sweep on the table is Reynor. I doubt Clem will allow that to happen. Now, we shall see. Trying to sneak out the third base. Adding the SCV in to block the third at the normal location. And then the Reaper, of course, hunting down Zerglings in his own base. Three command centers for Clem. Once again, Going to be going for maximum economy. What? No. Not again. I wonder how much Reynor's been practicing this, as these are two maps where taking a third for Zerg is notably difficult. He's not just gonna go mute. He's going to rush a lair, but there's no more gases. Gonna go for... He's thinking about the creep timber, trying to bait him in, and the Zerglings. The Reaper's dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Finally. Hellions thinking about darting in. What is this queen drop? This is a German taxi bill. He's gonna drop the queens. And he killed the Reaper, so there's no chance of jumping into the main. Is it gonna... Well, there's a Banshee on the way with Cloak, but there's already a lair done. Clem doesn't know it yet, but the queens are coming. And the Hellions at the front, the Zerglings snuck out. He didn't actually have a Dropper Lord. More Dropper Lords on the way. And the Hellions sharking around. I think Clem is starting to get a little suspicious. Susan, Lucille! Oh, you're here. You're here. Okay, yeah, Brenda. We got in the same Overlord. Like, how did you not notice? You're a little bit late on this whole bit. Oh, I don't... The Zerglings just overrunning the natural. The Dropper Lord's way too late to complement this, but a bunch of the Hellions coming back to try to defend, already losing a lot of the SCVs, but that's only the beginning. Operation Overlord, gonna drop in the Frenchman's main and try to overrun it. The Queens of the Natural, we've arrived! Oh, what's that bunker for? Oh, that maybe don't trash talk. That's bad karma. I don't... Reynor he just wins! Clem, with no respect, and dies without it. Reynor takes 2. We hadn't even warmed up to this game, and clearly Clem hadn't either. But the queens drop in and Clem drops out. 2 for Reynor. Wow. And somewhat amusingly, because of the rules of the World Team League, we're going to do it again. We're going to play that same map again, because they play 2 matches at a time. So the maps are picked, I believe, with each of those matches. So this is not deja vu. Well, it kind of is. And we have been in this place before. But at least, for our sanity's sake, they're on the other side of the map. So it's clearly a different game. But very interesting, they face off and end up on the same maps again. Which means that Clem was... You know, here on Crimson Court, it's a great... If you could survive... Survive. Okay, stop. Long enough to get like a 3rd and a 4th base up. Attacking as a Zerg is improbable to impossible. But Reynor circumventing that. He masked it so well. I think killing that first Reaper, very helpful. And I like how he did the mining on the mineral wall off to the side on this sort of area, because that looks very much like a 3rd. But there's no way for Clem to get in and see if it is a 3rd or if it's a bunch of Zerglings loading up into Overlords. So Reynor showed him what he expected to see and used it against him. Some top-tier mind games. And so far, Reynor with the... He seems like he has the edge. I love the stylistic choices. Of course, Clem could have easily taken a really good fight in either of these games, taken the games, and then we'd all be like, well, yeah, of course Clem, of course Clem's winning. That's what he does. But Reynor's willingness to keep the pressure on him is so far paying off. Let's see if he has any more cards to play. I do want to point out again. I don't know exactly whether they could have sent out Cyril, but Reynor is the only person who's taking games off Clem, especially Zerg, on Team Basilisk, anytime lately. So I am not surprised. Well, after that first set, of course you're going to send out Reynor. It'd be dumb not to. 2-0. What? No, now Cyril's going to show us how it's done. It's like, all right, Cyril. Move over, old man. Let the 800 APM children here. Amusingly, Clem's nicknamed the Kid. I don't know if created but certainly popularized by Reynor, who is about a year younger than Clem. So, but I think it's a fitting one as well. Also amusingly, Reynor named after the character Jim Reynor, except he didn't know how to spell it correctly because he was young and English is his second language. So that is apparently why Reynor is called Reynor. But I'm not really, in a glass house like mine, I'm not one to throw stones about unoriginal names. And in fact, the fact that it is spelled differently than Jim Reynor, I think, adds a lot of extra character. You're like, where did Clem get his name? Well, his name is Clement, so he really pulled a J-Dong with that one. I mean, shout out to Lee J-Dong. And then there's Dark. And then Dark, who when asked, we have a moment, when asked in GSL what his greatest fear was, he said, darkness, unironically. But also, most of the GSL players agreed that his personality fit his name better than any other player, so. Oh, Dark. Dark, the only other Zerg who's recently looked capable of taking on Clem. For very, I would say, different reasons. Reynor is... He's fast enough to keep up, whereas Dark is just... Oh my. Okay, wait, no, that's enough about Dark. Reynor is mining out the other mineral wall. Like, it's one of those things that nobody does. It's not that hard. 3 drones to mine through. It's 7 minerals apiece. That's 3 trips, or 3 drones, 1 trip. And yes, you lose a tiny bit of... Oh, did he notice? Oh my god. Nobody's looking for it. This is another one. He's using the mineral wall again. But this time, he doesn't have the... Oh, he saw the drone with the gold minerals. He caught him gold mineraled. There's a red-handed gold... Moving on. The Zerglings are streaming through. You see on the minimap. Clem, at least able to close the door in time. The Hellions are sprinting back or putting on the afterburners. And, yeah, well, I'm not locked in here with you, says Clem. Well, actually, 10 at 14? And here come the roaches, but wait, there's more! At first, Clem, I think, feeling a little smug about how well he was defending it, but Reynor just has more stuff. He's building drones behind. 20 SCVs dead, and it's not over. The Banshees are all tied up. The Marines are dying to the roaches. And Reynor is droning behind this. And more SCVs try to come out. Clem! It's a disaster! It's not unrecoverable, but... $29 SCVs dead, 29 SCVs left. 3 Banshees. Which is a lot to contend with just queens. Oh, Brenda! No! I told you to put the creep down, Susan! How many times? This is not on me, all right? Like, you gotta be more explicit. Oh, I'll be explicit. You... Banshees. Sneaking in. Well, not really sneaking, but at least cloaked. And Thankfully for... Okay, well, the queens are filing through the mineral wall. Maybe want to take care of that, but don't want to get caught with the cloaked banshees on the edge. Double NG Bay as well as double evolution chamber. Reynor up to 63 drones as the queens scamper up to the main base again. And they do have the overseer nearby. One banshee split off. Two banshees are all you need to kill. Two banshees, one-shot drones, single volley. 4 gases on the way for Reynor. He was really looking to ramp up that production. And that mineral wall, well, you can wall it off with a single depot, but depots can be killed. Minerals are actually the most dramatic or the best wall-offs in the game. All right? If only you could pick up those minerals and slap them down somewhere instead of converting them into boring things like supply depots. Not even a nuke. Only the lowly or the hard-working and well-respected essential drones. The essential workers of the Zerg and the Terran. I see these. You got the idea. But now Clem, with those mules as a backbone and with the space bought by the Banshees, he still has enough economy to make a real game of it. By no means did Reynor get critical damage done. It did set Clem back dramatically. But of course, Reynor, it was not... he wasn't in such a position economically that it didn't cost him. So now, Clem does have an opportunity. And very importantly, Reynor does not have mutas. And that means Clem can actually drop the base. Another couple OVs slurps up the Marines, heads straight for the main, where another couple OVs are potentially going to be picked off. Heads out into the corner. Infestation pit is on the way. Both players in the 60s of the workers here. Oh, Marines, be a little careful. Hydralist Den is on the way. Looks like he wants to rush lurkers. I guess you could be going Hydras in this scenario, but it's lurkers. 1-1 done. 2-2 started. Reynor actually with the upgrade advantage here. That's one of the things that is going to pay dividends as time goes on. Banshees get away. Armory is completed. +2 armor starts for Clem. Don't know if he noticed it. Yeah, there's a +2 weapons. It's just a bunch of Marines. Upgrades are even. Reynor has the army supply advantage. There's the lurker den. With Hive on the way. Roach Ravager. As well, the queens to back it up. This center base is very vulnerable to siege tank fire. Especially with no Vipers. He's just gonna have to rely on brute force. But the force is coming. The Lings wrap it around the back on top of the siege tanks. Down goes one. The Marines kind of abandoned at the front. The siege tanks firing every which way. Not able to concentrate their firepower. The Banshees, ooh, not perfect targeting though from Reynor. So Clem actually grinds through the front line. Knocks out a couple more Overlords. But amusingly, Reynor still had 200 supply of them. And chasing down the Ravagers. The Queens make the save. But there's no more Overseers, and Clem recognizes that. The siege tanks are still there. And it looked like Reynor had a good start. But Clem is looking to put an end to it. Still pushing forward. Finally, another Overseer comes up. Banshee's taken down unceremoniously. Battling up the ramp. The siege tanks are thinned out. He's going to try to save one with the boosted medevac, and he does. Reynor holds. But at what cost? Clem managed to kill 2,000, almost double the resources in that fight. Reynor held on to his bases and his economy, though. He's got 69 drones, which leaves him in a nice enough position to transition into hive tech, especially with that rich Vespine gas at the center base. The lurker range is on the way. No Vipers in production, but already we have Hydras popping out. And there's really just not that much Marine Marauder. Actually gets a corrosive bile hit. 2-2 is done. He's going to have the upgrade advantage in this fight. Very helpful for the Roaches to actually compete with the Marines. And Clem is beaten back yet again. Hydra, Seismic Spines, not quite completed. There's the Viper. Ghost Academy just now finishing. 2-2 upgrades about to complete for Clem. A very, very important fact. Because otherwise, he's going to keep losing the war of attrition. Reynor has not yet started his 3-3, which gives Clem an opportunity to retake the advantage. As Terran and Zerg upgrades of equal tier the exact same amount of time, so it's easy enough to do the math. 3-3 starts for Clem, but Lurkers on the way. Lurkers ready. Reynor. Only 530 APM when he's not having to micro-mute us. Roach Hydra is well known for being a less intensive composition and more strategic. Yes, barely 10 actions a second. What a slouch. They should call him Driftwood because he's so washed up. Okay, it took too long to come up with that one. I don't... Lurkers dunk their ugly, or subjectively ugly faces down. Why do you think they only attack while burrowed? That way they cannot be actively rebuked. Meanwhile, the Drop's still trying to keep the pressure on and loses track of one. The Hydras actually don't target fire the medevac, but everything underneath is already dead. Ghosts in production, siege tanks! And, oh no, the EMPs, but he actually misses one of the Vipers. He's able to yank in, abduct the tanks, and Reynor still maxed out. Lurkers getting closer. There's not enough ghosts to dislodge this. You need 2 shots per Lurker, and there's not nearly enough energy for that, even if he can get close enough to land the snipes. And Clem needs this base. He needs it desperately. Ooh. The shots coming out. And the Lurkers are interrupting the snipes. He doesn't have Ghost Cloak. And every second counts here. As Reynor he's working on 5 bases to 3. He has the economy, and even though the Lurkers are getting chipped away, he just eviscerated 2 more ghosts. The SCVs aren't mining. He's trying to repair the orbital, but it's still burning. Typical contractors. And now Overlord Speed finishing up, brings the Overseers up, but he doesn't even need Overseers. Now he's starting to lose a lot of Lurkers to the snipes, just buying as much time as possible. What happened here? The Roaches got through the rocks. Clem hitting the counterattack. Stims forward. What's back home to defend? So hard to dislodge this if you don't have the Ghosts in position at the start. And 3-3 not quite done yet, which means the Hydras have an opportunity. But while he's fighting that, the Lurkers jump on the siege tanks, blinding Cloud, and interrupting even more snipes. More SCVs dead. But Clem plummets to a 4-worker lead. Another drop loaded up. Clem, not dead, but again, in a very tough position. The Lurker, oh yeah, remember he took down the, well, And finally, with a supply depot there. Reynor missed an opportunity to target down those medevacs, but... And now Clem has a dangerous army. I feel like his army... Once the army gets to be more not Marines and Marauders than it is Marine and Marauder, that's when you reach the end game. Assuming you're at 200 supply and not like 50. Oh no. The Frenchman assassinates the Queen. Revolutionizing strategy. Production tab empty for Reynor right now as he sets up a massive Lurker drop, knocks out one of the medevacs. Even tried to pick up those extra Marines. Repositioning the Spore Crawler. The Ghosts, do they have Cloak? No, only has the Banshee Cloak, and that doesn't work for the Ghosts, alright? That's how it is. Lining up more shots. Oh, gets interrupted on the snipe, picks up some more. Lurker drops headed in. The Lings and Banes trying to run over. The sensor tower, I don't know if he spotted it, but now headed in towards the 3rd. There's a single missile turret. Ghosts on the way. Tries to line up a snipe. Meanwhile, fight at the front. Reynor trying to take advantage of the lurkers in the main and any distraction they may cause. Those are going to get cleaned up, but can he actually win the fight? Drags in some ghosts as well as siege tanks. Reynor will lose every single last lurker in the main base. Oh, and he doesn't have the money to replace them. He may have bitten off much more than he could chew. Clem is still nearly maxed out. He has more workers. He's now on 5 bases. And Reynor just threw away. I mean, there was an intent. But now the supply is dangerous. The lurker count is damn high. But the ghosts are nearly equal. And he doesn't have the vision to continually hit the ghosts here. Even without Cloak on him. And only now is Clem starting him. But before the lurkers are even able to get the shots off, just the snipes. But he wasn't looking this way. He had a sensor tower and didn't notice the lurkers coming in. So focused on the snipes, Reynor is keeping the pressure on. I think this is the right call. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you barely have enough to keep going. You can't sit back. You can't let Clem take the initiative. Because that is a very quick downward spiral. You need to try to find the fights with the lurkers. And so far, doing a pretty good job of it. The ghost softened up. More scans, but there's just not enough here. Again, dislodges the 3rd base. The lurkers, how many? Every time. Technically, they can get through. Oh, he just taps it out. He knows where it's going. Oh, look at the supply at the end. 41 lurkers dead. It started off so well. But Clem still had the infrastructure to bounce back. And Reynor unable to keep the pressure on, especially since Clem had, without mutas, you can't control the skies. And that leaves him with that mobility, that multitasking. Eventually he gets the army. And Reynor knows it's very hard to recover from that position. So, Clem's on the board. Keeping Team Liquid in the fight. And honestly, if anyone's going to, we're going to Dynasty. And Reynor is going to expand to the outside. What a crazy set of maps, by the way. We've played Post-Youth, Crimson Court twice, and Dynasty. These are pretty much the worst maps for Zerg. Maybe not Post-Youth. Post-Youth is actually not terrible, as you have so much open space despite the rush distance. But Dynasty and Crimson Court are just statistically difficult for Zerg players against Terran. And the higher level you go, I think the more pronounced that gets. That does leave some opportunity for, like, counter-mine games. But, very simply, you have to play around this gold base. You can't ignore it. And it's very unlikely you'll be able to pressure a Terran without doing some sort of early all-in. So that is why it's kind of rare to see in this matchup. He's already sending out drones. We'll see if Clem scouts for it. I assume he will. Exhausting games. These two. Just the quick anecdote of I was playing Age of Mythology Retold. I never played the original, all right? I'm not that old. And during the playtest like a month ago, I played like 11 hours straight. Very good, by the way. It's a great, I recommend it when it comes out. It has like the premium say on the, anyways, recommended, not sponsored. After 11 hours, back pain, like headache. Back in the day, these two young gamers' ages played 12 hours of StarCraft 2, woke up, did it again the next day. And that was like a regular day. No matter how many drones I lost to a Reaper for no reason. Well, probably wouldn't continue playing too long if I kept losing drones to Reapers, but these two are playing at such ridiculous speed under insane pressure. Back-to-back-to-back games. And it's just exhausting to watch, let alone... maybe it's easier if you're playing. I doubt it. Oh. Yeah, This is a message from the Hatchery Owners Association. Get back here, young man. You can't go in. That's private property. This is churlish, insubordinate. These Reapers don't know their place. Oh, okay, Brenda. Let's get you back to creep. Shut up, Susan. There's a Zergling in the main, but taken out. A Roach Horn on the way. Is Reynor? Well, the Roach Horn is spotted. So that is an unfortunate turn of the Reaper. A lair on the way. It's very hard to hide what you're doing here, as there's simply no way to keep the Reaper out. And you can pretty much scout the entirety of the creep. And while there is a very limited opportunity to proxy buildings as Zerg, it's not very practical. Already a Banshee on the way. Evolution Chamber. Oh, well, let us in! Unfortunately, they did. Those evolution chambers are not helping Reynor so much as trapping the drones in. Yeah, the Queen's on the ramp. Wow, that's it's bad. He's still going. He gets another one. 14 drones. The Queen's tried to bar the ramp, but the Reaper, like I said, very hard to keep the Reaper out. For various reasons. Dropper Lord on the way. And, Sybil, Dorothy. We're not the B team, we're the alternative team. And while our overlords might be slow, our inspiration and our jokes aren't. Okay. Well, now doing a... Is he gonna drop the creep? I would imagine so. Yeah, gonna start some creep. Maybe an opportunity up. Oh no. Well, here comes the Roach Ravager. A single Marine out in front, giving some warning time in order to pull the SCVs. And the Queens have arrived. And the Corrosive Biles are... Oh god. Well... he's trying to take out the tank. Doesn't... Oh, it's bad. Wow. It's really bad. The Dropper Lord, there's barely enough energy for one transfuse for the escape route. Huh. Well, Reynor dropping the creep. One of my favorite tactics that's just usually impractical because of the cost and both APM and resource investment. The Queen Dropper Lord for creeping all over the map. Ah, yes, time for the Queens will block the base. You shall not let... Oh, well... And try to drive back the Vikings. Ooh, well... So, while this is amazing to watch, it is a symptom of how far behind Reynor is. He simply doesn't have any other options. Clem has 20 more workers. He's got one on the way. I assume he has stim done. He does. Started combat shield. Medevacs. Once those medevacs are out. Oh my, the Queen. Another wave of Corrosive Bile. Queen gets obliterated. Gonna lose a nut. Well, this is... He's starting to use the gold base against him. This is making some progress, which is significantly more progress than I thought it would. But now the Marines are dropping with a vengeance. It's raining men. And the Zerg will suffer for it. Oh, ends up losing one. Well, Reynor just keeps building roaches. He has almost no, like, he's at 37 drones back at home. Down goes another Overlord. And there's nothing to stop these Vikings now besides praying with corrosive bile. He's going to lose another Ovi, but there's more roaches. Have we tried building even more roaches? Wow, he split both the SCVs and the... Eh? I like this. One at a time. Well, this is very annoying. He's successfully taking up a position outside the base. Just gonna keep poking. One after another. Corrosive oh. Knocks out yet another tank. Reynor is... I don't know that one was, but... Oh, he was trying to spread the creep tumor. Like... Well, another few minutes of this, and maybe... There's an SCV in there. Here come the Marines. Are there enough Marines to fight this? Well, he kills off the Ravagers. And if he kills off the Ravagers, that's a winning move. Huh. Well, now this is happening. He's sending out all the medevacs. Only half of them are full. I don't know how aware Reynor is of that. More siege tanks. The SCVs will actually mine anyways. Loses another tank. Vikings on patrol. What a crazy match this has turned into. The siege tanks hitting... Well, did he miss? No. There's some supply depots under there. SCVs continually having to run away. I can't believe Reynor has turned this into a game, but here we are. Like, the Marines... Oh, and he didn't kill that tank. Who's flanking who? He's gonna finally deal with these creep tumors. 2-2's on the way for the Marines. Medevacs slurping up Marines left, right, and center. Still a siege tank, but the Ravagers are still here. He's gonna whip out another wave of corrosive bile. And Clem is going to be denied mining yet again. And Reynor still at only 55 drones. And finally, the Marines have made it across the map. No Overlords! Oh no! He's actually just targeting the hatch, which, of all the things you could target here, I think is by far the least valuable. As he's almost mined out, and the gas geyser's gone as well. Viking hits the deck, will die immediately. It's all about solidarity, like the Heart of the Swarm trailer. And a whole bunch more roaches on the way as everybody piling together yet again. No Ravager, so he has to get right up on top of the siege tanks. Which, we can't exactly see what's going down under there. But we can see the supply, which is going down under there. And that's without the 2 upgrade advantage that Clem's about to have. In fact, Reynor only has armor upgrades. Oh, it's a planetary now. Reynor has been in a very long death animation. A scan, there's no hive. That's all he wanted to know. And with no hive, there's no tech that can threaten this army composition for Clem. He doesn't have lurkers, he doesn't have vipers. And let's not even joke about ultralisks. Or even more hilarious broodlords. It's not happening. Clem just needs to put it all together and finish him off. Again, I really wonder how the maps are chosen. As a Zerg player here, not like Reynor didn't make a titanic effort to try to make this a thing, but Clem more than capable of zoning him out. It looked for a moment like he might overcommit and end up losing any sort of map control, but he holds on to it, and it's very hard once you get that third base up and running to really kill the Terran's momentum. So, now it's all tied up. 2 apiece. But we go into the final showdown. 2 more games. Wow. Team Liquid at 99%. Team Liquid at 100% strength. Team Liquid at 99 98% strength, on the other hand. Jimmy, I gotta make my joke. We're losing the timing. Anyways, Team Liquid at 99% strength. Site Delta. Our first relatively standard map of all the matches. In fact, this one is a bit tilted towards Zerg, last I checked, but anything close enough to stay. I don't know how Reynor wants to play it, obviously. I would not have said mutas at the start. Then again, the only other player I've seen go mass muta anytime recently is Dark, so that should have been at least in the expectations. But will we see it again? Or will Reynor go with a more conventional Lingbane? Or will Clem just kill him before we can find out any of that? I'm not going to say Clem has the momentum now, because Reynor is someone who's uniquely unaffected by that. Reynor has come up with a disproportionate amount of reverse sweeps, which this isn't really a sweep situation. But he seems to be very capable of just shrugging off losses and turning it around, which is very, very difficult to do on the ladder, let alone at this level. I think Clem only very recently overcame that. Clem has always been a very emotional, kind of momentum-based player, and that is what kept him from that pedestal, from that world championship level. I think Clem has always had the potential. By always, I mean for like the last 3 years. Clem, on his best day, could have been a world champion. But only in the last year or so has he made those days happen on a regular basis. So it's amazing to watch, intimidating, and a bit discouraging, because I look at it, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to learn from this? And then I go watch Cure games, and I'm like, there it is. The People's Terran. Living perpetually under the bus. Get down. Another Reaper dead. I'm getting a bit greedy with them. Reynor getting Zergling speed just a couple seconds. Usually it's done 335-ish. Reynor keeps getting speed. I'm not exactly sure how. I mean, the math is pretty simple, but like 330. Just a couple seconds earlier. And yes, those seconds obviously matter when it comes to whether or not the Zergling is able to grab the Reaper's leg and rip it to the ground before it jumps up. Not even a second matters there. I want to also thank World Team League as well. If you can check them out live, you should take an opportunity to do so. Watch the full matches, which obviously are quite involved, as they're doing some of the coolest. I think Team Leagues, while it doesn't make as much sense in a individual sort of sport like StarCraft 2, it's still one of the coolest concepts. And what I really wish is that team games were more of a thing in StarCraft 2. I wish there was any effort put into team games that wasn't just, here are some mediocre maps that occasionally we change out, and let's jam 2 players and then play it out like normal. If there were things like building on your teammates' creep, or like more easily sharing units and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it is widely considered to be imbalanced and uncompetitive at the highest level. Like, up until the Clem and Reynor level, I think you could have real competition, but as soon as you put players of this caliber on it, it's mostly just cheese after cheese. Well, there's a Spire on the way. It's Mutas again. Hellions looking for an opportunity. Does he have an armory? No. just darting around with the Hellions, poking and prodding, trying to keep things lit. There's a treasure chest down there. Moving on. Double Evo chamber is on the way. Where's the Bane nest? Where's the Bane nest? He doesn't have a Baneling nest. But there will be enough for 7 or 8 mutas to start things off. And Clem, he's got to have that in the back of his mind. Maybe closer to the front. I'm not actually sure how it works, but... Kenshi cloaks. 10 mutas on the way. And there's the Bane nest as well. 10 mutas. A very dangerous number. More than enough to fight small groups of Marines, to take out medevacs. Like, without double medevac Marine catching the mutas alone. I think a lot of players, including Clem, are not really as experienced recently at fighting mutas. So gauging the fights is a little harder. Like, knowing whether or not you have enough to fight and win. And I think that's part of why it was so successful in Game 1, is a few times Clem fought, and Reynor just took out his units, because mutas, while they're fragile, they're not weak. Well, the Queen's holding the line while the mutas fly directly into a completely unprotected main. And so it begins. The main base will be ransacked by the Mutalus. And now we see whether Reynor can hold on to his fort. It's gonna be a no. The Marines take it out. 5 SCVs dead so far. Reynor has 68 drones right now, and he's working on an alternative 4th base. He hasn't done the critical damage he needs in order to keep Clem from continually attacking forward. Loses 1 muta. Takes out a few more SCVs and is chased into the back corner. Hellbat's on the way. Muta's being chased around. Still no missile turrets. Muta's almost entirely cornered here. But if he can drag these units out of position with the Zerglings, it looks like he's going to be able to make it out. Missile turrets coming online, and Clem is now very well aware of what he's dealing with. He's got 2-2 on the way, and he's in a much better position to deal with it directly. Now we have 4 siege tanks alongside quite a force out of Clem. Wanting to get some damage done. 1-1 is not completed yet for Reynor. It's seconds away. Baneling speed is there. And that 4th base, very apparent here as Clem targets it. Banelings trickle in, soften up the Hellbats. Finished off by Morlings and Banes. Mutas are going to try to cut off reinforcements, but the standing army is difficult enough. If he can get any of the siege tanks, that would be a huge deal at this stage. Gonna cut off some more of the reinforcements. Cloaks the Banshees to escape. By the way, the Banshees survive. Lings and Banes crashing in, though. And that means there's not gonna be that much left on top of the tanks. Another medevac is picked off. More Marines as well. If he's gonna go, he has to go very soon, or these reinforcements are going to join up. The mutas swinging around. And the turret at the 3rd. Way too late on the repair. Wing Bane. The muta count is so damn high. Drilling Claws on the way. The Widowmine's picked off. Another turret. There was no turret at the natural. 7 more SCVs, 8 of them. But Clem maintains the attack. More Ling Bane. A 4th base attempted by Clem. Going to protect it with his Marines. And very, very importantly, he's going to have 2-2 done momentarily. And I think that is when he really presses the issue and tries to find these efficient fights before Reynor can even think about going up to Hive. Some huge pickoffs for both sides, getting several mutas, but also taking out the medevacs, turrets, more SCVs. Reynor does not have an infestation pit. He's just now starting 2-2. Despite the fact he's done so much damage and will continue to do so in the main as he takes out another missile turret, Clem is diving forward. He's got the Marines, a couple Widowmines behind, trying to soften things up. But the siege tanks are in position. Marines from the north side, evaporated by the Banes. Muta's in the main. I think he just took out the engineering base. But he already got those 2-2 upgrades, so that's all he really needs right now. Another engineering bay. On the low ground will be taken down. 18 SCVs alongside it. Marines still going forward. Queen's caught in the crossfire. Siege tanks on the back line. More Widow Mines, but he's drawing out the shots. He actually hits the Terrans more than the Zerg. The Banshees from the north side. The Queens are cut down. Meanwhile, the Muta's still going in towards the engineering base. He keeps trying to build them at the back. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, young man? 27 SCVs dead as Reynor continues to ransack the bases, gutting the economy. Clem maintains a very high supply, and it feels like we're having something of a repeat of game one. But the medevacs are out of energy, the Marines nearly out of life, and the medevacs have to retreat. The supply's dead even. Muta's cornered yet again. Is there a Thor anywhere? No, no Thor. So the Muta's just patrolling back. Oh, he tries to go up the center. He's gonna lose a lot of them here. Drilling Claws is done. The Muta count back up to 14. Still no infestation pit. Widow Mines almost latch on. But Clem has whittled down the Muta count to single digits. And Reynor does not have a hive. Though, that is less problematic than it would be if he hadn't taken out the engineering base or undercut Clem's economy nearly as much. So despite the lack of hive, Clem is not going to have 3-3. He does not have Thors. He lost his armory. So, now the Widowmines in position. The Banelings are rolling in, but the Widowmines just as dangerous. Turret taken out of the fourth. Lings and Banes come forced to pick up. The Planetary itself, he can just fight the Marines. Takes out a Widowmine. And Marines trickling in one at a time is not going to be enough. The Muta's now back off. Another attack. The Banshee's still going. Finally taken down. Thor in production. The Muta's flapping in. Looking for an opportunity, not finding it. Scan. Oh, that's got to be a sigh of relief for Clem. He scans and he sees the lair, which is notably not a hive. More Widowmine's taken out. Clem finally able to find a breather here. Starts his 3-3 upgrades. The Banshee at 13 minutes and 37 seconds. Taken out by the elite Mutas. Infestation Pit, Burrow, and Overlord Speed. Overlord Speed being lacking is definitely contributing to some extra Muta losses to Widowmines here. Baneling's on the way back. SCV's on the run. He just goes through the supply depots and actually starts the orbital burning. Hive now starts. A surprising breather. The Mutas will spot the Marines before the Marines spot them. Still keeping on the edge of things. Burrow's not quite done yet. Clem is maxed out and he's working on the 3-3. There's no reason to sit back at home right now. You don't want to let Reynor get up to that hive tech for free. Needs to keep the pressure on as best he can. Is he actually splitting his Mutas? No. Most of the Mutas are up to the north side. We don't mind. Beautiful split. There's a Thor behind. Reynor with a huge counterattack. And now we're winding up for another round. And this could be a decisive one. Single Widowmine ends up splashing over every single Muta. But Clem coming back to try to deal with this. Reynor buys himself a bit more time. Oh, the Widowmine! Another clutch of Ling Bang. But the Marine count is so damn high. He tries a Burrowed Bane here. But loses a hatchery while he's trying to do the bait and switch. Knocks out the Marine and actually finds a few medevacs with it. That single burrowed Bane actually undercutting everything. Though, I think the Mutas would have won the fight. He probably would have lost 2 or 3 more of them. There's the Ultra Cavern. And here we continue. Both players are maxed out. Reynor has a lot of minerals in the bank, but really not that much gas to work with. Meanwhile, Clem, 6 missile turrets in production, no Ghost Academy. So if Reynor is able to sneak, it's a very strong word for this situation, but he's able to sneak out 5 or 6 Ultras, that could be a game-swinging move. Mines burrowed from both sides. Oh, what? That's a lot of medevacs just kind of happening into the Mutas. He's fighting the Marines, moves the medevacs away. Most of the action happening over here on the left flank. Takes out the Widow Mines, overruns the base. Clem sprinting back to defend. And I don't know exactly what's going on there, but the Widow Mines are taken out. He got caught up, I think, on a single Marauder. Another mine laid down. Clem spotted it or anticipated it. Either way, the Marines have to be loaded up. And the Mutas on top of the missile turrets. They took out all 3, but now the Marines will take them down, and Turdy's trying to fight. A classic mistake. He may win, but at what cost? Was it a mistake? He lost 9 Mutas there. There's still 10 on the field. He's still fighting Marines. 2+2 fire attack is done. Clem is overrun at the 3rd. He whittled down the Muta count, but Reynor still can max out. He can refill potentially with Ultralisk now. He has the money, and he just has to make the call. And there it is. Chitinous plating is already on the way. 3-3 for Reynor as well, for all the dozens, hundreds, thousands of Zerglings. He's lost only 340, which seems remarkably low for how this game has gone. Just burrows a single ling because why not? Another mine in position. The turrets are coming up, takes out the mine. I don't think that's enough Marines to fight this, but no reason to lose extra Mutas in a fight you know is not going to continue. Oh my god. Give it to me. Thank you. Baneling mine connects. And Clem. Down 30 supply. Gets the Thor. Clem still with a very dangerous army. Picks up, unburrows the mines. But the Banelings! You can't unburrow the planetary! And taking out so many SCVs with it. Mutas chased down 17 SCVs dead alongside that planetary. And now the long-term prospects of Clem went from bad to worse. Clem down to 2 not particularly fresh bases. He is up in army supply overall. So, how many medevacs are left? 10 of them. They never seem to all be in the same place, which is probably a good thing. Another clutch of units to the south. Clem trying to re-land another base. Not gonna happen. Chews up the Marauders. Desperately building Widow Mines and Liberators now. Clem seeing the Ultras for the first time. And his time starting to run out. Though, multiple hatcheries taken out by this group of bow. Down goes a full medevac. The Mutas, Lings, and Banes to the north. Widow Mine just trundled over. The creep spread has been beaten back as 678 PM. You know, maybe we're actually seeing... Yeah, 670. You're washed up now, Reynor. Barely keeping up. That's almost 100 less than game 1. You know, can you really blame him? He's down to 11 actions per second. The Mutas still looking for an opportunity. Up to the north side, a single medevac drop. And Clem desperate. Just preemptively sending out those Lings to deal with the Widow Mines. Oh, another mine drop on the way. 19 more Banelings. Reynor does not have the gas to rebuild easily. So he still needs to be very careful about losing mutas, about losing ultras, and throwing away banes. Clem is starting to consolidate. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, he's not looking. Oh, no. Oh, my. A dozen drones. And the mutas! Oh, no! Oh, it's a disaster! And Reynor now thrown into a fight. Now, dragged into this fight, but it's going to be a painful one for Clem. He's going to evacuate the SCVs. You can't evacuate the mules. The Liberators are pin cushioning whatever's... No, don't drop them. Oh, no. Oh, what a bloodbath on both sides. Clearly heavily taxed by this game. And I'm sure he's keeping a close eye on whether those units burrow. But Reynor lost so much of his economy. He was drawn into yet another fight, but Clem is able to gun down enough of Reynor's supply to stay right in it. Clem's starting to slip across the board as well. But he's made the plays. And now there's no gas left for Reynor. He has to be so careful, though. There's still plenty of banelings on the field. Kiting back the Ultras. A Lingbane counterattack. The Liberator's overhead. He picks up the SCVs yet again. Has to be careful of his own Widow Mines. There are no more mutas. They've gone extinct. The Orbital is dead. So that means Widow Mines, well, the Medivacs can go uncontested in the skies. But is there enough on the ground? He has to be so careful of his own Widow Mines. He's dropping SCVs out. Reynor is out of gas, but he still has so many minerals. Dozens of Zerglings. A single Corruptor. He's relying on Queens. Where does that bring you? Back to me. Okay. I don't... Clem holding on. Desperately. The income plummeting for both sides. But Reynor has reestablished the top right corner. He's back up to 69 drones, which seems to be the sweet spot for him. The army supply, though, is still in favor of Clem. He has 13 medevacs, which is actually... So it's a bit misleading, the current scenario. But that's enough medevacs to pick up his entire army and then some. The Liberator will take out the Queen, so the Corruptor takes out the Liberator. Another Corruptor chasing down the medevacs to the north side, making use of those flyer attack upgrades. Another Widow Mine will burrow, and another one will hit. And the Ultras are being contested without Ghosts, but Reynor can't seem to get enough of them. Did he get Ultra Speed? He did not, which is kind of a critical mistake at this stage of the game, as he can't close the distance easily off the creep. The Lings are just going to go for the wraparound. Another base is landed. The Liberator's still overhead. A single Corruptor is not going to be enough. Another drop to the right side, but that's going to be cleaned up. Reynor up 80 supply, and Clem taps it out. He almost dragged it all the way back, but Reynor grabs it and slams it to the ground. And now, Reynor has taken at least half the matches. 3-2. And that brings us... Oh, what a purist. He lost 619 Zerglings, 54 Mutalisks, 100 and change Banelings, a single Hero Ultralisk, and 13 Brave Queens. But through all the fire and fury, able to survive for long enough, which brings us back to the court. For the third time out of 6 matches, we will be on Crimson Court yet again. I don't know what it is about this map for both sides, but the score on it is 1-1. I believe if Reynor wins this outright, he just wins it for his team. If Clem takes it, then he has to rely on the others. But either way, oh God, exhausting. But we're not done yet. So, before we get into this final match, you made it this far. Wake up! Okay. I once again want to beg you to like, and subscribe. And hopefully you've enjoyed the commentary. I hope I'll bring something unique and maybe entertaining on top of just your standard commentary. I like to think so, because otherwise that'd be pretty depressing. But thank you for watching. At this point, these games have been so hectic, so exhausting. I honestly can't remember pretty much everything I've said for the last 2 games. I hope it was profound and articulate, inspiring, and somewhat amusing. Thank you for watching. I hope you've had a good day so far, and I hope this last game continues to make it just a little bit better. And Clem reaches for the Reapers. For the first time out of all 6 games. How many will it be? Reynor, mining out the mineral wall. Gonna try to open up an opportunity to evade the Reapers before they get too high in number. He did make it. He's going to be able to get the base. Which, well, there's no Zergling speed on the way at all. Which means these Reapers can continue to get the damage done. It's going to be up to the Queens, as it so often is. Even puts a creep tumor on the ramp where Clem shouldn't be able to pick it off before it finishes. He saw it, but he knows the Overlord's looking. Gotta put that APM somewhere. And the Reapers run to bounce. Tries to go to the... He's gonna try... He bounces the Queen, and then tries to set himself up. Another double bounce. Goes in for more. 1 drone. Looking for more. The citizens arrest, though. Pulled off the line. But he somehow slips away with 1... And into the main. 3 kills. And... he will escape. Yeah, go tell your friends what happened here. I'm a Terran player. I don't have friends. Yeah, that tracks. I don't know. Double barracks with Stim on the way. 3rd command center for Clem. I really wonder what Reynor's going to choose. He's made the mutas work. He's 2-0 with the mass muta. Sure, last game, eventually they all got swatted out of the sky. But the damage was done. Clem, like, it's not like Clem messed up his micro. Yeah, sure, you can always target fire a little bit better. But anyone else, maybe even Cyril, loses those mutas well before that point. The amount of speed, as we've seen, the amount of APM, the sheer attention that you must put into the mutas to get anything out of them. But once you do start making progress, well, that can spiral. And to Clem's credit, he almost turned it around, despite all the damage, despite how many losses he suffered. He still picked up his command center and landed it back down again until he couldn't anymore. And now, he's just fighting to draw even. I bet Reynor really wishing this was the score in the best of 5 they played at the World Championship. Unfortunately, he transfused the creep tumor. I didn't even really realize you could do that. Like, check that one off your bingo cards. You shouldn't have had it on there. You should have thrown that bingo card out. But it makes sense, but because a transfuse costs twice as much energy as just building another creep tumor is part of the reason why it's effectively never seen. But the double drop comes in. Reynor actually a little supply block by it. Those Zerglings do not have speed, and by the time they do, the Marines have already gunned down a huge amount of their number. And now the Frenchman is going to guillotine a few more of the Queens. The transfuses holding on. The Marine count is whittled down to an amount that fits comfortably in one medevac. So Reynor, he's built. He's already got a 4th. Again, he's going for the aggressive expansion. He expanded to a 4th already. So he's just trading out minerals to keep his economy alive. He can replace those Zerglings. He can replace those Queens. But he cannot replace bases easily. He cannot replace drones easily. So, throwing Lings and Queens at the problem being the Marines, is a more cost-effective trade than trying to, well, deal with exactly this. Oh my, the Marines! And... gets another Queen, but... Reynor starting to consolidate. He's got 72 drones and counting, but that's pretty much enough for now. He has not built a Spire. He has not built a Hydralisk Den. And that means... Reynor, let me finish. Infestation Pit. Rushing up to Hive. Not quite a rush, but... And look at that creep spread as well. Looking very good right now. The Queens. Get off my creep! It's one medevac, and immediately Clem took offense to that. Baneling speed a long way away. The 1-1 about to complete for Clem, but unfortunately not able to get it done before he's driven back into the medevacs. Bane speed closing in. Hive is halfway there. Ling Bang gonna be targeted. Clem keeping the pressure on, and this is what he doesn't have mutas. So Clem just continues chipping away at every side. The creep, though, expanding forward. A bit optimistic to drop out 2 feet away. Hive is nearly done. Reynor at 86 drones. Clem at 69 SCVs, which is nice enough to continue this aggression. And I believe he just went up to 8 racks. Indeed. 8 racks done. The Octo Racks timing is online. Gonna try to target down another hatch. And the Banelings are closing in time. Ends up losing a bunch of Marines there, actually. But he drops into the Bane with another set of Marines, able to target down even more. He really wants that hatch, I'm sure. But Reynor has more options for expansions as well. Another Spore Crawler. And Clem getting a bit greedy. Oh, the most obvious burrowed Bane mine. Unfortunate for Reynor. Just a second late from where he might have been able to pull it off, though it's likely Clem would have scanned up there anyways. Widow mine's drawn into the medevacs. The medevac's almost going down. And, well, that's all the mines for now. Picks up again. Reynor has taken so much of the map. His Hive tech is coming online. Adrenal Glands. Does he have any Vipers? No Vipers. No Ultralisk Cavern. Still has to deal with the drops. Clem, these are more medevacs than he has Marines to put in them. Supplies are dead even in our final match. Widow Mine eats a bunch of the Banelings and a drop out again. Will he finally get the hatch? No. Targets down the Overseer and picks back up. And now we're seeing the value of the mutas. These medevacs are just incessant. It won't end. He'll just keep dropping the base. And now a mine drop as well. They just happen to have a mine. And their drilling claws is done. 3-3 started for both sides, almost at the same time. In fact, Reynor has a slight advantage. Medevac goes down. Marines will be chased. And, Reynor did select it, but wasn't quite on the mark. Unfortunately, Baneling Mines don't have range or hit air. Another base. A whole lot of bruised medevacs in the main base. And the Marines to jump into them. Building another spawning pool, expecting this to go down. And either way, might be worth it to have an extra. Liberator sieges up. Queen takes it down. Reynor's holding on, but he still has no other hive tech. It's just Lings and Banes. Clem just keeps sending out drop after drop after drop. Raining men across the field. There's the Ultraless Cavern. Which, honestly, I'm not sure if that's going to find any more success. There's already ghosts on the way. Reynor, while he's held his own... Oh, huge counterattack! He got through the mineral wall. I'm not sure who actually mined that. I think it was Reynor. Yes, the drones! Bringing minerals from the scene of the crime. The center base, Widow Mines hitting the Liberators, and Clem, his reinforcements, completely gutted. There's Zerglings in the main, taking out the siege tank on the high ground. And now the production is under attack. And just when it looked like Clem was starting to solidify his position in this game, he takes out a hatch. He keeps the pressure on, but the SCV count is starting to dip. He's got more Zerglings in the main. A scan has to clear him out. Clem is just now taking a 5th base. If Reynor had lost this hatchery to the south, I would call this an unqualified victory. But Clem actually has a supply lead. And again, Reynor is hurting for gas. He threw so much at Clem, and he ends up killing SCVs, getting some of the production, but he didn't actually remove any bases, and he didn't take out a significant portion of the army. So, Clem still has a lot of options, and he's more than happy to use them as he continues to fly around the map. 3-3 is now done for Reynor. A few moments of advantage. The scan will spot the drone transfer. Does Clem know? Yes, he knows about that base to the north side. Upgrade complete. 3-3 done. Another wave of Ling Bane. He might be able to kill the Liberator with the Zerglings. He does so. Well, with the Widow Mines, technically, but the brave sacrifice of the Zerglings. Meanwhile, Clem up to the north side. Drones in the wrong place at the very wrong time. Zerglings and Ultras on top of the base to the right flank. Planetary down. Targets down some of the Banes. Another Marine taken out. Medevac taken down. And Clem maintains a slight supply lead throughout all this. But Reynor continues to rebuild. And somehow, our final game is more even than the rest. Triggers the Banelings, the Widow Mines as well. Ultraless getting sniped, but managed to survive. Clem forced to lift up yet again. The income is just tilting back and forth, probably with the drop of the mules. How many orbital commands? Only 3, which makes Baneling Mines an existential threat right now. He desperately wants to drop mules, but he just simply can't. Ultra just completely cleaves a ghost into pieces. And how many ghosts are left? Just 1. And that's not enough. He wants to cancel that harder than Blizzard would. And now, the medevacs will boost away. The Widow Mines taking out a whole bunch of the counterattacking Lings. The Queens! And 2 Ultras! Meanwhile, Liberator on top of everything. Ultras coming in again. The mineral field is opened up enough for the Ultras to move through. But the Liberators are making things so difficult. Meanwhile, Zerglings actually taking out more. Both players, look at the upgrades. It's just 3-3. I say that because that tells you how much action this game has had. Oh my god, 40k lost in less than 15 minutes and counting. And it's only getting higher as both players' economies are still incredibly high. They still have 2 to 3 mining bases. They're not even entirely mined out of the main yet. Partially because of all the workers dying. And partially because we're just so early on. Clem's about to be mined out of that last mineral patch. Right around 15 minutes is when that starts happening. But another Queen is taken out. Clem has a 30 supply lead. Reynor, Reynor feels like he's firing on all cylinders until his engine explodes. That's his normal way he plays the game. Either his opponent just dies, or he completely runs out of everything simultaneously and loses. And right now, he's on the bleeding edge of that second thing. As at 170 supply, still trying to throw units at Clem to keep him busy. But Clem has managed to hold on. And the difference between Reynor just keeping those mutas active on the field and relying on just Lings and Banes and not able to control the air, it's such a noticeable difference as Clem is now back in the driver's seat. A moment of respite. And Clem is able to find some space for the building upgrades. Sniping some of the corruptors, knocking out a few more. The ghost tanking the damage here. But the choke point. Reynor caught between a rock and a hard place. Another huge counterattack. And the Banelings are rolling in. The SCV's rolling out. More Banelings to interrupt the ghost. The Ultra's cleaving through. There's not enough ghosts and the Liberators are out of position. Clem dips 20-30 supply. Another Baneling mine hits the Marines, and Reynor is making it happen. The ghost count has dipped precipitously low. He only has three ghosts in total, and I have no idea what the other two are. Does he even have cloak? He does not. Another hatchery attempted. Reynor keeping it together. He's maxed out yet again, but with nothing in the bank. What a game. The final game, the best of them all in a series of some of the most incredible games I've ever seen. Ultras. Down goes another. A dangerous game indeed. The Zerglings come in again. The Liberator will tax them, but the Zerglings will kill the SCVs. The Whittle Mines. So much damage. Down goes another Ultra, but three more follow it up. Reynor losing a lot of supply trying to chase down that army. The same can be said on the counterattack. He finally takes down the Liberator, but at what cost? 19 SCVs dead. Oh my. Oh my. Queens. Queens have to be pulled in. They're just corruptors flinging every which way. He had to build a spire just to deal with the Liberators. And we're no closer to a conclusion. What is the economy? Reynor has the income advantage. There's only 3 orbitals still, as Clem feels obligated to continue building planetary fortresses across the field. And in comes a Widowmine drop on the high ground as well. Might be able to just take out the Corruptor. Gonna deal with this here. Splitting. It's taxing even Reynor's ridiculous APM. But he's keeping it up in both players. At 180 supply, with nothing in the bank. A single infester. That is a strong army out of Clem. Reynor does need... That infester is very important for dismantling that. And just building a... I don't even know if it's on purpose. Like, he did this before with one infester. But in order to deal with this army, again, both players go back to... Not really their corners, but at least their side of things. And rebuild. And there won't be much past this point to rebuild after this. This war might be fought with Ultras and Ghosts, but the war after this will be Marines versus Queens. Coming in again, trying to take advantage of Clem's maybe lapse in attention, but that is few and far between. The most obvious burrow. The classic tactic, but he gets into the main. He's actually targeting the orbital command. And even if he knows they're burrowed there, the Ultra's coming in from the north side. But the high ground, he has the high ground, Reynor. Don't try it. And he forces him to retreat back. Where's that infester? Well, the Marauders are caught on the corner, but the snipes come through. The Zerglings are cleaned up in the main. Another set of Ultras have been chased down. $20. I have no idea. Like, would that even supply? Nothing in the bank. Incomes are even. Upgrades as well. The army composition is tilting slightly towards Clem. He's got the ghosts. He's got some few liberators. But he doesn't have the like bank of orbital commands you usually want at this stage of the game. He doesn't have cloak for his ghosts. There's still an infestor somewhere. The Zergling's overrunning the field again. The map is sliced in half vertically. The infestor! Oh, it's huge. Oh, it's huge. Oh, it's massive! Oh my god! He couldn't get a better fumble than that! It doesn't get any better than that! He got the entire army! One infestor to rule them all! And under the Liberator, cleave them. But even then, Reynor's still struggling to power through. The bio army is so efficient. I really thought that was almost a GG moment, but Clem still has. He still has units. In fact, he has the supply lead. Reynor is throwing so much at him. Almost 1,000 Zerglings in 20 minutes. The Ultras are chasing him back to the barracks, back to the natural. More snipes, reinforcements from the outlying bases, chasing down. It feels like the units are slowing down as they get jammed up here. Another Ultra dead. The supplies are still dead even. But Clem... is there an infestor? There's still one. He's cutting off the reinforcements. The Whittle mines work both ways. He unburrows, he reburrows, he burrows again. And the medevacs go down alongside the mines, but not enough of them. Reynor down 20 supply. And that's it. There's nothing left. The engine exploded. The hatcheries are dead. Clem. In the best game of StarCraft 2 I have ever seen. Well, the mines. He's actually running so fast, he's outrunning the lock-ons, but you can't outrun forever. Run, Reynor, run! The Corruptor. Clem is still mining from the right side. Reynor can't put together enough units to deal with this anymore. I think that's it. How appropriate that this match will likely end dead even. 3-3. Reynor, I appreciate, like, I think in any other, like, if it had been anything but the final match they play, he would have tapped out. But he has that infestor. And he has a dream. The thing is, Clem does not present a large enough target. Oh no. The infestor is directly underneath. He's trying to line up the hit. He pops it out, it dies. The Widow mines explode, and Clem ties it up after 1,000 Zerglings dead, 18 Ultras. 100,000 resources lost, almost on the dot, in 23 minutes. Over 4,000 resources a minute. That's how it ends. What? What a game. What a match. The two most evenly matched. These players, they need oxygen masks for how high up they are compared to everyone else right now. Yes, even Cyril. Wow. And that's that. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I hope to be casting many more of these two for as long as possible. And if you enjoyed as well, it'd be awesome if you like and subscribe. If you got the means of motivation, check out Patreon or YouTube membership. And also make sure to check out the World Team League, because we wouldn't be able to see matches like this without them. So if you get the opportunity, make sure to watch them either on YouTube or I think mostly YouTube. But, well, thank you for making it to the end. Assuming you didn't just skip here. You missed out. Thank you. See you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.